So Wesley Paterson is a renowned consultant, coach, and keynote speaker celebrated for his award-winning expertise and results-driven approach. He creates dramatic improvements in performance and productivity for his clients, who frequently report immediate and tangible results from their engagement with him. His pragmatic and results-oriented approach enables organizations to increase sales as profits, maximize ROI, and execute high-performance strategies at every level. As a highly sought-after keynote speaker, Wesley captivates audience with his insightful perspectives on leadership, performance, and strategic execution. His engaging and motivational delivery ensures your attendees leave inspired and equipped to take immediate action. So when you are comfortable to start, you can. I think you already has the power to share.
Perfect. All right. Well, I'll get started here. I'm just going to share my screen, so bear with me for a second. I'll load.
Okay, it's working.
All right. Perfect. Okay, well, thank you for that introduction, Luana. And again, for everyone here, my name is Wesley Paterson. I'm a certified management consultant, and I work with a lot of tech companies. And the talk that I'm going to be giving today is on productivity and performance hacks. So it's going to be tips, techniques, and best practices to help business professionals navigate the sustainable digital age. And full disclosure, I am not an AI tech developer, but I work with a lot of individuals in this space, especially through NRC IRAP. I work with industry technology advisors, but I work in line with business, so helping on the business focus. And there's actually a program for any of you developers out there that might be watching called the Management Advisory Services Program. And if you haven't looked into NRC IRAP or the Management Advisory Services Program, I definitely encourage you to take a look, check it out, and I'll have my contact information at the end, and feel free to reach out to me if you think there could be some value working with a certified management consultant within your business. And so I'm going to start here with this slide. So this is a picture taken, my oldest son and I, he graduated this year. So we just recently went to his grad. And so this was taken back in January. And we did a father-son trip. So we went out to the Dominican Republic. And this is a picture. We went on this excursion and it was quite awesome. We went down into this cave here. This is where this picture is taken. So it's just a really great experience. Basically, the whole time it was like, just take our money. Great service, great fun. We went out, we did some dune buggy riding, so we're just having a great time here on this dune buggy adventure, riding dune buggies, uh, going into waterfalls. It was lots of fun. We actually got to go on stage with the tribe here, so there was this whole authentic performance, and we got to sample some of the local cuisine and just a great overall experience. So this took place this year, January. But then what happened is I arrived back in Calgary and noticed this had happened. And so this is a picture of my Escalade. And mind you, we all know Canadian winters get cold. But what you can see here is the door handle, and my door handle wasn't like this when I dropped my vehicle off. So I was kind of a little bit peeved, but at the end of it, we were kind of laughing on the drive as we left. But then I kind of looked into getting this resolved. And the message that I got was, we recognize the damage happened here, but it's not our fault. So when I kind of look at this experience here in Canada, the customer service, the feel, compared to the service that we're getting on our trip, our holiday, it was completely different. So again, I'm not in the business of, saying negative things about companies and that, but I can tell you by default, this company now will get all of my business. And they simply for being another option available. So this company will get all my future business, and they did virtually nothing. Okay. They just didn't perform poor service. So as you're developing products, you want to kind of think about the user in mind. You want to think about the customer. You want to think about the client. And then you want to also think about the employees. Like put yourself in the shoes of the person going through the experience, and you're going to have a lot better success with the products, especially as we look at AI and automation. Are we being high tech, but are we also still remembering that core important thing of high touch? So there's a concept called psychological capital, or in short form, SAAIC. And this is really interesting. So there's been lots of academic studies of this, and companies that bring forward psychological capital in training and development, they get, you know, really good rewards. So very basic. We can teach this. This is so easy. We can teach this to kids in kindergarten. And what you want to think about is, are you making deposits or are you making withdrawals from your bucket or other people's buckets? So it's kind of something that we kind of want to look at, especially as we start automating. Are we looking at AI as replacing humans, or are we looking at AI as a teammate or something that we can leverage and working with it to optimize our functions and make work more enjoyable? And so I think if we start to look at both high tech and high touch with these concepts of psychological capital, we're going to see a lot of progress when we start to move forward these initiatives. So we've done this practically. So this is a picture from a few years back. It was taken out at JBS Foods. And so those of you that aren't familiar with JBS Foods, they are a large beef processing plant facility located in Brooks. And so they actually have 2,600 employees. And to put into perspective, they're the largest employer in Brooks, Alberta. And Brooks city, if you look at per capita, the diversity of this city, they have representation from over 120 countries around the world, different levels of ESL, different levels of education. We have people with grade 6 education all the way up to people with PhDs. So when we looked at improving leadership development, training, when we looked at improving their processes, their quality, and then also moving in to areas of automation, we were we took time to look at the concepts of psychological capital, emotional intelligence, authentic leadership, and all of these, building that in. And by doing that, we had a lot of great success with this Global 500 company. So one of the things we implemented was just going for a Gemba walk and teaching the employees the strategies and the techniques. So as we start to look at AI, we're having lots of resistance to AI. And part of that is because we're not teaching the workforce, we're not teaching the frontline leaders, the frontline managers, how to start to use and play around with these AI tools in their job, and start to also have knowledge of what quality looks like, what Kaizen looks like, and how we can start optimizing productivity and efficiency. And so the Japanese have been doing this for years. And it's called a Gemba walk. It's going down to the problem or the floor, not just sitting in your office and assuming the problem. So if you're working on AI tech for agriculture, have you gone to a farmer's field? If you're working on AI tech for manufacturing, have you gone to the manufacturing facility? If you're looking at AI implementation for oil and gas or water treatment, have you gone to those field sites and actually ask the questions of what the challenges are? And if you do that, and if you build and develop to that, then that's going to augment and that's going to be a tool that's going to be much more easily adapted. So one of the really simple things that we did to improve psychological capital, along with these Gemba walks. When you walk into the plant, it's loud, it's noisy, you have to have your hearing protection on, is simply thumbs up, thumbs down, or a hand just so-so. So these are basic human things, and what we'd see is give a thumbs up, someone on the plant floor would give a thumbs up and smile. So we're getting quite good feedback from this. Time to check in, and that's going to be a bucket filling opportunity. So if someone kind of did a so-so or a thumbs down, maybe we would go um, talk to them, find out what is the issue, what is the challenge. And by that, we're adding in elements very simply of high touch. Micromanagement 101. So I did a talk, and I'll chat a little bit more about this, but no one likes to be watched. No one likes to feel that person just, overlooking, looking at the oh, someone said can't see the pictures. Look at the top view switch. Okay, good. Okay. Perfect. Okay, just checking the comments. I saw some comments coming in. Okay, so getting back to the presentation, micromanagement. We don't like to be watched. Like as humans, we don't like to feel like every move is being watched. And sometimes we can have a little bit of that feeling with AI. So we want to get people comfortable with AI, but we don't want to use AI in a way where people feel like their every move is being watched. Because actually that's when, people are going to make a mistake or choke. And then we're going to just have that downward spiral. So we want to be really mindful as we start to develop and implement these AI systems. We don't want to feel like we're being controlled by the puppet master and we're having our strings pulled. So, we want as humans, as workers, as managers, as supervisors, we want to be able to use these tools to improve the effectiveness of the results. So most individuals in the workforce, they want to take pride in their work. They want to do a good job. They want to continue to get better. And um, sometimes there's some that openly voice when they have problems and challenges, and some people they have this fear of making a mistake. Um, so again, we kind of want to look at how, as we're moving people into AI, automation, how we can do this in a meaningful way, but also be filling buckets as well. Now, if we look at levels of leadership, the lowest level of leadership is what we call positional level leadership. So a worker, an employee is following that manager or leader strictly by title alone. Do what I say or I'll fire you. So it's strictly going to be reward or punishment. Okay, so do the job, get a reward, money, or don't do it. That's the bottom level because there's no relationship, there's no trust. And if we look at John Maxwell, he came up with what he calls and coined the 5 levels of leadership. So, number 1, the bottom, he talks about position. People follow you because they have to. The next level, the next stage above that is permission. Now we're starting to build a relationship. You have, your manager is actually interested in things outside your work, how your life is, what your hobbies are. And now people are going to follow you because they want to. There's actually some trust, there's some caring. The next level above that is production, results. People follow you because of what you've done for the organization. They have that relationship and the results. And so when we're looking at now implementing automation to improve productivity efficiency, we know that 95% of these will fail because they're being led by number 1, positional level leaders that are leapfrogging to production, but they've missed out on building that relationship. So that's another thing as you're starting to implement this, we really want to look at as we're improving the high tech, are we also being mindful and improving the high touch? Are we taking value? on things like culture, on things like diversity, on building those relationships, on building communication skills, and building that trust so that we're not in that heightened fear state, um, that survival level. Very similar to Maslow's hierarchy as well. Okay, no one, I love this cartoon here. No one wanted to return to the office, so I make them do all meetings via Zoom to keep that working from home feeling. And you might think this is kind of funny, but I was literally at a plant facility a couple weeks back, and this came up that they have all these nice meeting rooms. Lots of people are on site, but they're jumping onto Teams meetings, they're jumping onto Zoom instead of just, walking 20 feet and all meeting in a conference room. So, technology is good, but we also want to look at, are we going too far with it in some ways, and are we still having that human connection? So we want to make sure that we're, you know, building that trust, building that relationship, building morale. Otherwise, if we have lack of trust, lack of relationships, low morale, our productivity efforts are going to ultimately fail. Um, a video that you can search online if you type Google Disrupt HR, Wesley Paterson. This is where I talk a bit more about this. If you want to, it's a very short video clip I delivered at Disrupt Calgary um, about a month or so back. And I talk about helicopter managers. And so it'll give you, again, a little bit more talk about psychological capital, filling buckets, and I encourage all of you to check that video out. It's already on, I believe, Vimeo. Yeah, Vimeo is where that's listed. So again, at Paterson Consulting, we look at helping individuals and organizations become healthy, wealthy, and wise. And sometimes the solution is not to add to, the solution is to optimize. And then we also want to improve lifestyle choices. So we want to be mindful of, is this making work more enjoyable, or is this making work more painful? And quite often, a lot of these change management technology drives have neglected looking at the process of the business and have actually caused a lot of pain. And so then when the next implementation or change comes around, uh, the humans that went through that first poorly planned process, they have a lot of resentment and they're not really hopeful that this next thing is going to be the savior of the solution. So again, sometimes not knowing where you want to go is not a bad thing. Um, it's a way where you can pull on your team and start to find areas to improve and be willing to blow up your company when required. So I'm going to show a couple things about health. Talk about health. So you might think, where is Wes going with this? But there's this spot, if you watch the movie The Wolf of Wall Street, just by doing a tapping motion, this is what Matthew McConaughey did, and it's a thing that can start to stimulate your T cells. So if you're in business, if you're a developer, if you're running long hours, you want to be mindful that, you might wear out your body. So again, a thymus thump is something that you can look at. There's also tools and technology. So this is an example of Sensate. This is a little vibration device combined with binaural beats that will help to stimulate your vagus nerve. And it'll also guide your brain waves into areas. And so what I find is this is a great tool to use to get you into an alpha state. If you have to be focused on deep work, it can help you get in the zone. You can go into beta. If you're having trouble sleeping, there's tracks that can help you go into a delta. And so it's a way to do this without taking drugs or alcohol or different stimulants, more natural, tapping into the body's natural rhythms. There's also other AI tech. So this is an example of a product called Sense AI, where it literally has low-level lasers and it's going to stimulate areas of the brain. And by going through this interactive gaming process, you can start to develop and actually build gray matter into areas of your brain. I know if we look here in Southern Alberta, we have a lot of researchers doing incredible work in the area of neuroscience. So I'm excited to see some of the things that come out as the future goes forward to help improve efficiency. Actually, one theory that I have is that I actually think that a large number of our current mental illness that's happening today could simply be linked to a K27 imbalance or a cross-crawl imbalance. Um, Now, you might be like, why is Wes talking about health? Well, we actually have a consulting practice, but we also have a health and wellness company. And we got really early into the concept of nutrigenomics and pharmacogenomics. So my wife, she's a registered dietitian, and so we work with a lab out of Toronto, and we can actually get this information specific to your gene, and we can get these reports so you can start having customized diets unique to you. And so again, this can help employees, this can help managers, C-suite to improve their performance on the job. So again, it's going to be personalized roadmaps specific to your genes. On the pharmacogenomics level, you can see they can have like red light, green light, yellow light, so they can have all those risk factors identified. So these are things you can then take to your physician or your specialist and advise. So if you've been prescribed a medication, all of a sudden you look at your pharmacogenomics report and you see it's a red, maybe you want to have that talk with the GP about, are there other options? Because based on my genes, I have a higher risk level. And then you can compare other medications. And this is actually important because after heart disease and cancer, iatrogenic illness is the third major cause of death in North America, according to Johns Hopkins uh, University. Shifting back a little bit to the psychological capital, I want to talk about something that's very human to all of us, and it's the concept of smiling, and it's authentic smiles. So I'm going to show a next slide here. Here's a pic of two females. They're very popular. So we have Amelia on the left, and we have Avril on the right. And if you want to just put in your chat, Amelia on the left, Avril on the right, whose smile do you think is authentic? I'm going to look at the chat here. Left, left, left. Yes, perfect. So I can see the left's coming. Awesome. Exactly. And we can tell that, so we can naturally sense that. So you might be like, where's Wes going with this? Well, here's Mr. Evacon. And so you can see Mr. Evacon has that natural smile. And we all understand this at a human level. So with Evacon products, they also have that red light, green light. But they're using this in manufacturing on the factory floor. And so you can preset these. He kind of moves around. If the line's doing good, he's going to be smiling. If it's doing just minimal, he's got that neutral expression. And if the line's performing poorly, he's going to be frowning. So this adds that humanistic element to it. So again, I saw someone said, gave me the 5-minute call. So I'm just going to power through a few of these slides here. So again, studies in Coca-Cola, email me and I can send you more information on that. But you can see a group here taken from Yara, and the workers, they all have that thumbs up and they're all smiling, Mr. Evacon. And so again, this is bringing technology, automation, but also proper training, aligning those sensors, and it's all working together. And it's producing real results in real time. And that's just from the power of an authentic smile. I'm going to jump really quick into one other tool, shifting into where maintenance management. So again, technical staff often face a knowledge gap. And what we're going to see in the next 10 years is we're going to see all this knowledge on these legacy equipment is going to be leaving the workforce. They're going to be going into retirement. So how are we going to capture that? An example, one solution that can do this is Kyami. So again, it utilizes knowledge management and AI into maintenance systems. And you can also add in those digital factory blocks so you can tie in and build on repair time, downtime. 70%. So there's so much potential with this. And I think this is where Canada, well, I know Canada is lacking on a global stage in this area. So there's a lot of things. So if you want to look at where can I start investing my time, I'm going to leave you with these three things. Invest in your people first. Your people are your number one resource. Look at the processes, and then also look at the systems and treat it like that. Start to also ask yourself this question and take on these 10 two-letter words of personal power. If it is to be, it is up to me. So don't just wait for someone. Be willing to drive that. I know we have a lot of developers watching it online. So, 100% there. And then also ask this question, how can I start filling other people's buckets? So getting out of just that self, like again, we can't fill others' buckets if ours isn't full first. So we want to fill our own bucket, but then start to meaningfully ask, how can I start filling other people's buckets? I'll give you one quick example of this. If it's my wife's birthday and I bring her flowers, that might have one level of meaning. But if I went and got her flowers today unexpectedly and brought those to her, it's going to have a completely different level. So that's just an example of a very quick way I could fill her bucket up, and then it's also in turn going to fill mine. So here's my contact information. Again, if there's any questions, I'll open it up now.
Thank you, Wesley, for your time and sharing. It was pretty nice. If anyone has questions, we have time.